Whether you're just starting out or have been pulling wrenches for years, you soon discover the need and the advantage of having air impact and air ratchets and air wrenches in your toolkit. I've got a few now, and I've been buying one at a time, and each one has a place and has a time where you need to use it. I'm going to just quickly show you several of my air tools, but we're going to focus and bring our attention back to the 3/8 air impact wrench and just the advantage of having a 3/8 air impact. I'll start on my far right here and I'll show you I have three different air 1/2 inch. This one here goes up to 240 pounds, this one's 600 pounds, this one's 450. This is the lightest one of them all. This weighs 5.5 pounds, and this one is pretty close as well. You'll find you don't need three of them, but I do use these at different times. This one here, which we're not featuring, but it does have a 1, 2, 3 on the back, which gives me the choice of how much power to use. These here have a little dial, just as all of them have a dial on the bottom or the back to give you different pressures. Moving on, we have a 1/4 inch here, and this is really nice to have, for it has its place as well. There's one thing that I want to show you about the 1/4 inch wrench. And with every tool that you have, you're going to find they make noise. A small little wrench like this is very noisy, just as you'll hear. That's hard on the ears, and no time at all you're going to want to put some headphones or ear protectors on. A big wrench like this is quiet. It's a lot quieter. That one's quite screamy. Now here's a butterfly 3/8. I use this a lot. I really like it because just the versatility of it. The butterfly is what it means. It rocks forward and backwards. You'll see it's quieter by substantially than the little 1/4 inch. So invaluable to have. Then you have an air ratchet like this. Out of all of them, this is not a real expensive one, of course. Most of these are not really expensive, but they work. The only time I use something like this is when I'm trying to get down into a tight place and need to drop it with a short socket. And the torque on this is only about 50 pounds, so it's not a really great, powerful air ratchet, but I really don't use this maybe once a year or so because I don't prefer this type of a ratchet. My go-to is this one and this one here. Now, of course, this is what I want to talk about. It's made by Power Fist, and it's a 3/8 air impact wrench. It has a die-cast aluminum housing. The air consumption of this is 90 pounds at 3.5 CFM. So you don't want to run this much over 90 pounds, although if you do, I don't think it's going to blow the seals, but that's what they recommend it at. It's got the rocking dog shifter, forward and reverse, and that's nice. When you're working, you can just pop it back and forth like that. And the torque on this is pretty amazing. They sell different ones. I settled on this wrench because the torque is 130 foot-pounds. This here is 60 pounds. This here's around 40, and so 130 foot-pounds is really good. I mean, most tires are torqued at 100. You can always check something like that with the torque wrench after, but it gives you the idea of just the amount of torque you can get out of one of these. Of course, you'll want to get yourself some 3/8 impact sockets. I have a set that I use, and it's just got a few small ones starting from 10 up to 18. And that's your most common sizes. I can go down to 1/4 inch with that if I need to go smaller, or I do have a number 8 and 7 3/8. This here no load speed of this wrench is 10,000 RPM. The air inlet is a 1/4 inch, and 3/8 inch hose. On the bottom of the tool you have 1, 2, 3, 4. These here change the sound a little bit. The faster it goes, the higher it squeals, the more noise it makes, and also the more power. So number 1 is your low torque. Now you'll notice that that is noisy, but if you put a socket on it, it does quiet it down somewhat. Hear that? So it does make it, workable with a socket on it. One of the problems people have with air tools is they over oil them. You need to put oil in, but don't oil every day because they'll load up so much that they'll soon quit working. So you'll have to learn your tools and how much you use them. But one of the major mistakes people make with air wrenches is they over oil them. So you don't want it to run dry, of course, but don't over oil. So to switch from 1 to the high speed 4, you push down, pull back, and you're on 4. Just see how much higher that is. The speed, and your muffler is right on the front here, right under the trigger. I was thinking I could put something on there to help muffle it, but I just may put the air hearing things on when I use it, but it does slow it down. See? Really takes that scream away, and you could use that. Why buy a 3/8 air impact? Well, some of the reasons are this. This is 2.7 pounds. If you're working for any amount of time, your arms will get tired lifting just about 6 pounds in the air. This is a beautiful tool. I would not be in my shop without it. I've tackled very heavy, seized on nuts and bolts, and this will work them off great. But it's heavy. Sometimes you're working with your arm extended like this, and you're trying to get at a nut behind the tire or a frame or something, and you're working on, maybe on loosening brakes or struts or something, and you've got your arm stretched out like that and trying to find it, you're working a lot of weight there. And the advantage of this, of course, much easier. Working overhead, you don't always need 3, 4, 5, 600 pounds of torque. 100 pounds of torque is a lot on a lot of the smaller bolts. It will be more than what you need. The other advantage is the size. Working in tight spaces, that is going to make a huge difference for length, for getting in even under the hood or wherever it is on the vehicles these days, plus getting inside of things. Sometimes these won't slide in an area where this will. It'll just fit in there and you can get at it with your extension or whatever the case may be. So if you're looking for a wrench, this one here is going to take over a lot of my work now when I'm doing air sockets. Using an air wrench, because I just picked this up recently. And so having something like this is very valuable. Get yourself a set of air sockets. I bought this in Canada at a dealer we call Princess Auto, and it's in Victoria, BC. And I paid $39 for it, and it's got a good warranty on it. It's going to last a long time. It comes with the coupler. I put some Teflon tape on it there, ground it in, and it's set to go. So highly recommend one of these, and it'll make your work go a lot faster, be easier on you, and help you for lining up things. If you're starting a bumper bolt and holding it and it doesn't want to go in and you're struggling, when you got an air wrench you can just feather it a little bit, and if it's crooked, pop it back and back it off, push it in, and all of a sudden you find that it's like having an extra set of hands with you when you're working. I highly recommend to get one of these little 3/8 air impact. Some people break this little nut off, this little washer off, because it makes the socket stick sometime. I leave it on because I don't like sockets falling off. When you do that, you just turn your socket and it's on the ground. So this one here does seem fairly good as far as getting sockets off and on, where they don't stick really hard like some can. So 3/8 air wrenches, there's two right there. The butterfly and this air impact. Little 1/4 inch, and it's going to go a long ways in working on your vehicle. Thanks for watching, and if you like it, give me the click.